Bonjour mes enfants, comment ça va? Hein? Vous allez bien? Moi je vais très bien parce que finalement l'hiver commence à arriver à sa fin. On va bientôt terminer à l'extérieur. Aujourd'hui il fait beau, il fait du soleil, il ne fait pas très froid, il fait frais. Il ne neige pas. En fait, la neige est presque totalement fondue. Et puis, ah oui, la sève coule dans les arbres. Donc nous sommes en train en fait, d'obtenir la sève des arbres, de recueillir la sève afin de pouvoir faire du sirop d'érable. Le baseball a presque recommencé aussi. Ils sont en train de s'entraîner pour commencer la saison, le championnat. Et en fait, c'est un moment de l'année qui est vraiment splendide. Hein? This is a great time of year, isn't it? Finally, the weather is turning. Winter is coming closer to an end. It's not warm, but it's not freezing outside. The sun is shining. Snow is almost all gone. And like I said, baseball is starting again. Spring training is going on. And like I said, we're collecting the sap to make maple syrup outside our maple trees outside the home. And so this is an excellent day, a beautiful day for the studying of French. And that's what we're going to do together. I'm glad you thought of that yourselves. Thank you. Now, there are actually three topics I'd like us to look at. One is how to talk about your activities in sequence. Activities of your daily routine using before and after. And we'll get to that to begin with. And then secondly, we're going to talk about, let me see what it was. Yes, the present progressive tense. In French, the expression en train de, which simulates the present progressive tense in English. For example, je suis en train de parler. I am talking or I am speaking. However, there are some real differences between the use of en train de and the present progressive tense in English, which I need to explain to you also. And then thirdly, we'll talk about the alphabet and numbers up to, well, we won't go as high as 9,999, but the lesson itself, 2.21, I think it is, does. Okay? So these are the three topics we'll talk about. And let's start therefore, with how to use before and after in sequencing the activities of your daily routine. This is found in lesson 2.18, I think. Yes, 2.18. Okay, let's go there right now. You see here two symbols. They're rather similar looking, so you have to think carefully and look carefully at them before you speak. This is, you see the clock is going backwards, and therefore we're talking about before with this symbol right there, what image right there. Whereas here the arrow is pointing forward, so there we want to get across the idea of after. Now, when we want to say something, for example, before breakfast, or before I eat breakfast, or before eating breakfast, if you like, I get dressed, of course, and I take a shower, for example. You're going to use the expression après que. Après que. And by the way, if you're a French teacher out there watching this, après que is not followed by the subjunctive. So here we have, for example, the expression je me lève, n'est-ce pas? And here we have après, after. Okay, so after I get up, or after getting up, après que je me lève, okay? If this is après que je me lève, what would this first part of the sentence be? What would that be right there? Yeah, après que je prends une douche, voilà, what would this be? Après que je m'habille, what would this be? Après que je prends or que je mange le petit déjeuner, okay? So that's how the sentence begins. The second, this arrow indicates that this is what happens after that event. This is what occurs. I'm sorry, we are saying after here. So the next activity that happens, that's what the arrow indicates, is, for example, after I get up, I take a shower. This second part of the sentence is very simple to express. It is just in the regular simple present tense, je prends une douche, n'est-ce pas? So how would you say this whole sentence? Well, I'll say the first one for you, and I'll have you do the ones that follow. After I get up, I take a shower. Okay, it's a very common statement you would make as you're talking about the routine and the sequencing of activities in your daily routine. You would say, après que je me lève, je prends une douche. Après que je me lève, je prends une douche. D'accord? Okay, try saying this one yourself. After taking a shower, I get dressed. D'accord, c'est ça. Après que je prends une douche, je m'habille. Voilà, c'est pas compliqué, hein? How about after I get dressed, I eat breakfast? Voilà, après que je m'habille, je prends une douche. Ou bien, après que je m'habille, je mange. Ah, c'est je prends une douche. Après que je m'habille, je mange le petit déjeuner ou je prends le petit déjeuner. The weather is so nice that I'm a little distracted, excuse me. Okay, numéro 5 ici. How would you say, after I eat breakfast, I leave, or I go out? Voilà, après que je prends le petit déjeuner, je sors et puis je vais à l'école ou je ne sais pas quoi. Okay? All right, so that's the use of after. After one thing, this next thing takes place. And that's not particularly difficult. Just remember the expression is après que, and then use the simple present tense in both parts of the sentence, both clauses. Now, here we have j'arrive à l'école. J'arrive à l'école. Here we're going to say, oh, this is still après que. Let me get down to where it says avant, because this is a little different. Using avant, so before I do something, something else takes place on a habitual basis. And here we have je fais les devoirs. You're not going to use avant que, you're going to use avant de. And de is what's called a preposition. Prepositions are like in, on, at, around, through, under, for. Those are prepositions. After a preposition, and in French that would be therefore dans, de, à, qu'est-ce qu'il y a encore? In, on, at, around, through, autour de, that's de also, etc. Usually it's going to be de or à or pour. After a preposition, you do not say the subject and the verb. You're going to use the entire infinitive form of the verb. The infinitive form is the original form, such as I taught it to you, such as habiter, faire, écouter. Not écoute or fait or habite, but the whole thing. Okay, that's the infinitive form. And so you're going to say avant de, and then you're not going to say the subject pronoun, which here is je, this is the guy in the blue shirt there. You're not going to say, you're just going to say the action. So it's avant de faire, infinitive form, avant de faire les devoirs, and then you'll make use the usual simple present tense, you'll make the statement which indicates about whom you're speaking. Je dors. Donc avant de faire les devoirs, je dors. I guess the guy takes a nap before he does homework so you can think clearly, I suppose. Avant de faire les devoirs, je dors, ou je fais la sieste, okay? So notice that you did not say again, you did not use the subject pronoun, the word I, in the first part of the sentence. You just said before this action, avant de faire les devoirs, which would be in English, before doing homework. If I say to you, for example, before eating dinner, about whom am I talking? You don't know. You don't know if I'm talking about myself or my wife or our children. Okay, you don't know, do you? And that's how you're going to start the sentence in French also. You're not going to specify about whom you're talking. You're just going to specify the kind of activity to which you're referring. So avant de, let's go down to the next one. For example, before sleeping, am I talking about myself or him or her? You don't know yet. In that statement, avant de dormir, notice again I use the infinitive form of the verb, avant de dormir. Now in the second part we're going to specify about whom we're speaking. J'écoute de la musique. Avant de dormir, j'écoute de la musique. Okay? So before sleeping, I listen to music. Now, the sentence can be reversed. J'écoute de la musique avant de dormir. The order of these two parts of the sentence makes no difference. And so if you really are insecure and have to let the person know right away about whom you're talking, okay, I'll put the second part of the sentence first. and say j'écoute. Oh, you're talking about yourself, are you? J'écoute de la musique avant de dormir. Okay, but it can be said, the parts of the sentence can be said in either order. All right, well, I've done all these up to the present for you. Let me hear you try and make this statement right here. You're going to say, before listening to music, I eat a sandwich. Oui. Avant d'écouter de la musique, je mange un sandwich. D'accord? And yes, I know the word for a sandwich, the picture right there is not present here. It's because I try to avoid using too many pictures. And so I assume you're going to just, either you'll roll with the punches and say, oh, he didn't want to say the sandwich, he wanted to say a sandwich. Or you just take a wild guess and maybe you'll be right. But I don't have too many pictures because the sentences become unwieldy, and like this one did, they get onto a second line, which is not desirable. Okay, numéro 15. How would you say, before eating, I wash the dishes? That sounds like the opposite order, but anyway. Yeah, avant de manger, je lave la vaisselle. Let's try another one here. Here's je m'habille, okay, je m'habille. How would you say, before going to bed, I said je m'habille. What's with me? Je me couche. I'm sorry. Je me couche. Before going to bed, I get undressed, which is normal. Avant de. Now, this is an important point. You may well have said avant de se coucher, because se coucher is the original way in which you learn se coucher. Yeah, the verb is in its original form. Coucher, that's called the infinitive. The pronoun, me, or se, excuse me, has to change and adapt to whom you're referring. Because if I said avant de se coucher, I'd have to be talking about somebody, him, or about her. I have to be talking about somebody else. Se coucher refers to what he does or what she does, okay? Or what they do, masculine or feminine, okay? If I'm talking about something that I do, se must become me before putting myself to bed, okay? And so it's avant de me coucher, because I'm talking about myself, as the second part of the sentence will indicate. Avant de me coucher, where am I? Right. Avant de me coucher, je me déshabille. Je me déshabille et je mets mon pyjama, par exemple. Okay? Ensuite, how would you say, before getting undressed, I watch TV? Okay, hopefully you remembered it this time. It's not avant de se déshabiller, it's avant de me déshabiller, je regarde la télé. Okay? Because the me, you're doing the action to yourself. The taking off your clothing is something you're doing to yourself. It's not something he's doing to himself or she's doing to herself. It's something you are doing to yourself. And so or I should say, I'm doing it myself. So, avant de me déshabiller, je regarde la télé. Try the next one here. Here you're going to say, before watching TV, I read a book. Voilà. Avant de, and then, regarder la télé, je lis un livre. Je lis un livre. And again, it's a book. It's not the book, but who cares, eh? How would you say, before reading, I relax? Avant de lire, je me repose. Okay? So that's the use of après que and avant de, before and after, before and after, in order to talk about the sequencing of the activities in your daily routine. Now let's move on to the present progressive tense. This symbol right there represents the present progressive tense in all of the, no matter what language the Ulat is teaching in any language. And so you have here a timeline. That red line is supposed to be a timeline. And this dot right there, this red dot in the middle there, it represents the current moment right now. And this wavy line means that something is ongoing. It's in the process of taking place. It didn't just happen and finish. It's ongoing. It's happening. And so in English, that would correspond to, like with this sentence right here, I am walking to the supermarket. If somebody came up to you, or somebody called you more likely, because if they can see you, they know what you're doing. But someone calls you on your cell phone. They say, hey, I was wondering if you might want to come over and watch the game with me. What are you doing right now? I'm walking to the supermarket and it's going to take me like an hour to get there and back. In France, by the way, you walk a lot more than you take a car. Or at least you walk a lot more, put it that way. And so we use what's called the present progressive tense. I am walking. That means right at this very moment, that's what's going on, okay? And in French, an equivalent, more or less, expression for something was in the process of happening, it's ongoing, is en train de. And we could translate that, if you wanted to in the process of, okay? So I'm in the process of walking. It's a little unwieldy in English, but I'm in the process of walking to the supermarket, okay? Je suis en train de marcher au supermarché. And that's what this statement is supposed to be. You say je, follow it with the verb être, which usually is this symbol right here. Je with être, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. You start with the subject and the verb être, conjugated, means change to fit the subject. And then you stick in there the expression en train de, which means in the process of, more or less. And then en train de followed by, and by the way, en train de is a preposition, in, on, at, around, through, under, from, of, from. After that de, you've got to use the infinitive form of the verb, the original form of the verb. So je suis en train de marcher. Marcher, not marche, but marcher au supermarché, par l'école, au supermarché, okay? And so it's easy enough to form such a statement. Je suis en train de marcher au supermarché. You try and make this to make this statement right here. Say I am. Or I'm sorry, this is not I am. This is you are, and then you're going to put in there the expression en train de, which means it's in process. And you're going to follow it up with this verb in its original form. And then you may say the rest of the statement. Go ahead and say it. I dare you. Mm-hmm. Tu es en train d'entendre. Tu es en train d'entendre, which becomes d'entendre. Tu es en train d'entendre une moto. That's what's happening right now. You're not hearing a screech owl. You are hearing a motorcycle. Tu es en train d'entendre une moto. C'est ça ce qui se passe. Hein? Now, I was saying that if someone called you on your cell phone in English and they said, hey, what are you doing right now? You want to come over? You'd say, I can't. I'm walking to the supermarket. Or I can't. I'm hearing a motorcycle right now. I can't. No, let's skip that one. Let's go back to the first sentence. I can't. I'm walking to the supermarket. That would be normal. What are you doing? I'm walking to the store. I guess in America it's not very normal. How about that? How we'll change the sentence? I'm going shopping for my mom. It's going to take me like an hour. Okay, that's how we would say it. But in French, you would not need to use en train de. You would use the simple present tense most likely. The person would not say to you, what are you doing? Qu'est-ce que tu es en train de faire? They would just say, qu'est-ce que tu fais? That's the simple present tense. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Huh? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? But wouldn't that mean like, what do you do like for a profession on a regular basis? Like are you a teacher? Are you a student? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? I want to know what you're doing right now. Qu'est-ce que tu es en train de faire? No, it's not necessary. In French, the simple present tense can really have both values, both meanings. Let me give you a statement. I'll just say, take this one. Je marche au supermarché. That can, in English, be rendered, I walk to the supermarket. That's how I get there on a regular basis. I'm not necessarily doing it right now. In fact, right now I'm making a video. But quand je vais au supermarché, when I go to the store, je marche. Hein? Je marche au supermarché. That's what I do on a regular basis. So, je marche au supermarché can mean I walk to the store. That's how I get there. Or it can mean I am at this very moment walking at the store. And by context of the conversation, you'll know, or the person who's listening to will know what it is that you mean. If the guy calls and says, hey, j'aimerais bien que tu viennes chez moi, hein? On va regarder un match de baseball ensemble, d'accord? Non, je peux pas, je marche au supermarché. That's a dumb sentence, but I'll just say it. I'll say it. Je marche au supermarché. Je ne peux pas. If the person says that, the guy who's understanding means right now. And how does he understand it's right now? Well, it's because he just invited him to come and watch a game with him at his house. And so he's talking about right now. And so when the person says, bon, je marche au supermarché, he knows that they are talking about at this very moment. That's what's going on as the guy holds his cell phone, okay? And so, je marche au supermarché can mean either I walk to the store or I am walking to the store. In English, you will always use the present progressive when you're talking about what is happening at this very moment. In French, it's not necessary. So, when do you use en train de? En train de is really used when you just want to render the statement stronger, the notion of at this very moment, right now. And that's what that arrow pointing down for it, the little dot on the timeline of this symbol here means. At this very moment, this is what is happening, and I want to accentuate the fact that it's right now. I'm making a stronger statement. I'm emphasizing it. Now, when would you ever do that? If the person were to start to insist and say to him, oh non, mais c'est pas intéressant aller au supermarché. Mais viens chez moi tout de suite, hein. J'habite tout près du supermarché, hein. Non, oh, that's done. Bon, je vais venir je vais venir te chercher, d'accord? Et tu peux venir chez moi. Look, I'll come and get you. You don't want to walk to the supermarket. That's a dumb thing to do. The person tells you on the phone, why don't you let me come and pick you up and we'll watch the game at my house. You would say, je ne peux pas. Je suis en train de faire des courses pour maman. Huh? I can't. Right now, at this very moment, I am shopping for my mother. Je suis en train de faire les courses, to go shopping. Je suis en train de faire les courses pour ma mère. Je ne peux pas. The guy is accentuating the fact that at this very moment, he can't be interrupted by this guy's invitation to go watch a game with him. Okay? So, en train de really has a stronger value than the present progressive in English. It's when you're saying, look, at this very moment, this interruption is not possible. For example, let me give you one more example. Let's say that I say, j'aimerais bien parler avec votre famille, les membres de votre famille actuellement, parce que je suis un peu troublé par votre attitude. If I say to you, look, I want to talk to your parents and your brothers and sisters because I'm bothered by your attitude. And you go, whoa. And you'd say, bon, je suis désolé, hein? I'm sorry, mais en fait, je ne peux pas les appeler, I can't call them, parce que mon père est en train de, actuellement, tu veux le parler actuellement? You really want to talk to him right now? Oui, bien sûr, hein, c'est important. Yeah, it's important. And then if you want to say, I can't interrupt my dad, because right this very moment, he's cutting the grass. Je ne peux pas, hein? Mon père est en train de tondre la pelouse. At this very moment, you know, this would be an interruption in his work routine here. He's cutting the grass. Il est en train de tondre la pelouse. Ma mère est en train de préparer le dîner. Et en plus, mes frères et mes sœurs, ils sont en train de faire les devoirs. Je ne peux pas les déranger. Hein? My brothers and sisters, they're doing their homework right now. My mom's making our dinner for tonight right now. Dad's cutting the grass. I can't interrupt him. Then you might use en train de because you're trying to emphasize, accentuate that right at this very moment. Okay? So if someone were to say to you, if I were to say to you, qu'est-ce que vous faites? In other words, what are you guys doing? Notice I didn't say, qu'est-ce que vous êtes en train de faire? Qu'est-ce que vous êtes en train de faire? What are you guys doing? You would just respond to me, I'm watching a video. Je regarde une vidéo, hein? Donc ça c'est évident. I'm watching a video. And I didn't say, je suis en train de regarder une vidéo. I said, je regarde une vidéo. But if I were to say to you, hey, and I were looking the camera lens right now, and I see that guy out there in Tennessee right now, hey, moi je te vois, tu es en train de dormir pendant mon cours, hein? I can see that you are in the process of, you are sleeping right now as I'm teaching this class, tu es en train de dormir, réveille-toi, okay, wake up. then I would use en train de, and that person who recognizes that would be a serious offense would respond to me and say, "Non, je ne suis pas en train de dormir. No, I'm not sleeping. Je suis en train de vous écouter, Monsieur Nesbitt. I am listening to you at this very moment." That's the kind of situation where you use en train de to accentuate that at this very moment, that's what's happening. Okay? So there's an explanation. As you look at the lesson 2.20 in the Ulat, you won't see or hear this kind of an explanation. Only here, live here, did you get the inside scoop on the use of the present progressive in French, or the expression en train de, to simulate the present progressive in French. Okay? Just remember, if you can, this is helping you get used to using the expression en train de, this lesson here. But remember that you can simply use the present simple in most cases to express what in English is I am doing something. You understand? Okay, j'espère. Numéro 20, leçon 21, 2:21. 2:21, last of all. Let's go take a look at that lesson. I'm drawing water here. Et j'ai du mal à parler. Excusez-moi. The alphabet. Do you know the alphabet in French? Let's go back. You hopefully do by now. You've already had the chance to study it. Let's go back and forth. I will say the first letter of the alphabet. You say the second. I'll say the third. You say the fourth. All right? A. C. E. G. I had the hard one there. I. You had the hard one this time. K. M. P. Wait a minute. I think I got it messed up. I think I messed it up, didn't I? I said two in a row. Let's try it. I couldn't hear you. That's the problem. Speak a little louder if you wouldn't mind. All right, let's start from the beginning again. A. C. E. G. I. K. M. O. Q. S. U. W. Y. Voila, c'est ça, we did it. We're going to turn it around just a second, but let me see, I'll make a couple comments here. A, B, C, D, E, F. G and J were always tough for me when I lived in France. French was hard for me too, but when I lived in France. It's G you'd think would be J, but G is J, and J you would think would be J, but it's G. And so you gotta kind of just think, turn those two letters around in your mind and say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. G and G. Other than that, the K is significant or is interesting to talk about if you have nothing else to talk about. Because K, the letter K, is essentially not used in French. You'll only have the letter K in words which come from other languages to French, like kangaroo. I think that's with a K. Yeah, it is. Kangaroo. So K is very uncommon in French. What else? L-M-N-O-P-Q-R-S-T-U-V-U. It's hard to say, isn't it? V. W. That's worth bearing in mind. Remember, it's not W, it's double V is the way they pronounce it in French. W. And then X. Sounds like a person who's afraid of mice standing up on top of a chair. X. For X. And then Y is an interesting one. Y means a Greek I. It's the letter, I don't know. Alphabet, zeta, epsilon, I don't know, I've forgotten the alphabet. But in any case, it's a Greek I is Y, which is the letter Y in our alphabet. And last of all, you have Z, which not only is the way the French say it, but you may also have picked up on the fact that it's the way the British say the letter Z. In the English alphabet. Okay, let's turn it around now. And you'll say the first letter, I'll say the second. Allez. B. D. F. Nice, good job. H. J. L. N. P. R. T, V, nice, W, X, Z. Ah, c'est bien, c'est bien, c'est bien. Now, numbers. You've studied numbers up to this point, so I don't need to add too much. There's some challenging things, as you know, as far as French letters are concerned. But let me just mention that, just take the first one for example here. A 3238. I don't see anything difficult to talk about there. You only put the A in when you're saying like 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, and that's where it gets tough, isn't it? 60 and 11, which is 71, 71, and then you get 80, which is 420s. And then 81, you don't say the A there, you just say 81, 420s 1, 420s 2, 420s 3, 82, 83. Then you get to 90 and you say 90, 90, which is 420s 10. And then you get to 91 and you say 80, 91, 91, you don't say the A there. And then 97, 98, 99, 99, which is 99, is 420 is a 10 and a 9, 99. So it's like you're giving change out or something like that. You're counting change. But in any case, the numbers from 70 on up get to be a little challenging, don't they? You know, the Belgians who speak French, in their own fashion, they actually do something pretty smart. For 70, they don't say 70 for 60-10. They have a number for 70, which is 70. And then, I hope I don't mispronounce this next one, but 420s, which is 80. The Belgians have a single word for 80, which is, I think it's autant. I think it's autant. I appreciate the Belgians. Their French fries are far better than the French fries. Mayonnaise with lemon juice in it, tremendous frites, great French fries in Belgium. But nonetheless, they also are smart when it comes to numbers. And then you get to the number 90, which the French say 90, 90, 420s and a 10. The Belgians say 90, 90, just a single word, which I think is really smart, but the French are not going to imitate them apparently after all these centuries. All right, let's take a look now at the second one here and see if you can say it. And by the way, this kind of a statement is just so important to know the alphabet, to know numbers. If you're in the business world, for example, when I was in Europe, I imported sporting. Part of what I did was to support my family very poorly, was to import sporting goods and to distribute them, to sell them around France. And I'd have to look at catalogs and talk with customers on the phone, they would want to place an order for like an RBG 36B, which is kind of a baseball glove, an RBG 36B, and I would have to understand, of course, the letters and the numbers. And so as you're dealing with a catalog, you're dealing in business and everyday life. You go to the bank or whatever, numbers are so important. Alphabet and numbers are very important. So with that little introduction there, let's see you try and say this one right here. I dare you. Allez, dites. Des, okay, you start with the thousands, you follow the number of thousands by the word mille, the number of hundreds by the word cent, and then you say the two digits, 43, that you've learned all along here, the tens and units column. So, des 2743. Okay, ensuite, try this one. Be careful, there are no mille here, there are no thousands. Hit it. Okay, Z 500. And by the way, you say 500 for 500. You don't say 500. Okay? 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it's followed by a consonant sound, the number 5, you're not going to pronounce the Q. You're going to say 500. You're not going to say 500. Okay? So 500 is 500. So Z 515. Ensuite, try this right here. Okay, W, now we have thousands and hundreds. 7604. You're going to be tempted to want to throw the word a or and in there, like some people do in English. Don't. Okay, don't put the word and in the sentence at all, except, of course, for 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71. You're going to say 21, 31, 41, if it happens to be, those happen to be the last two digits, the last two numbers in the long number. Otherwise, don't throw the word a into the sentence. Okay, so let's do two more together. How about this one right here? How would you say this? Think opposite. Right, some of you probably said J, but it's not J. Think opposite, it's J. So J, 5800, 420s and a 12, 92. Okay, 92. And last of all, try this one right here. Q, 1000, and by the way, that's an important point. You say 2000, 3000, 4000 for 2000, 4000, 3000, 4000, 5000. Notice I said 100, not 5000. 5000 for 5000. But when you say 1000, don't say 1. Just say 1000. Okay? So 1657. Okay, now just to close this off here, let's put the alphabet to some practical use. And we're going to talk about, first of all, I want you to spell your first name and last name. I'll give mine as an example first. Bonjour, je m'appelle Steve et mon prénom c'est Steve. Hein? Prénom is your first name. Mon prénom c'est Steve. Ça s'écrit, it's written, S majuscule. The word majuscule means capital, like a capital letter. S majuscule, but come on, when people write names, they know that the first letter is capitalized, so I didn't need to say it. S-T-E-V-E. Steve. Mon nom de famille, which literally translated as name of family, which it means in English last name. Nom de famille. Mon nom de famille, c'est Nesbitt. N-E-S-B-I-2-T. For double T, they say deux, the number two T's. 2T. Okay, if your name is Wesson, for example, it'd be W-E-2-S, two S's, 2-S-O-N, okay? Comment est-ce qu'on écrit votre prénom? How's your first name written? Hit it. Je vous écoute. Voilà, très bien. Et comment s'écrit votre nom de famille? Comment est-ce que vous écrivez votre nom de famille? How's your last name written? Voilà, très bien, bravo. Ensuite, maintenant, on va parler des numéros. Hein? Now let's talk about numbers. Quel est votre numéro de téléphone? Quel est votre numéro de téléphone? Mon numéro de téléphone, c'est, my telephone number, it's, okay, mon numéro de téléphone, c'est 313 646 44 49. D'accord? And so you're going to say the numbers in, if you please say them, not individually, like 3, but group them together. 3 for the area code, 3 for the first part of your number, and then 2 for the and 2 twice for the last 4 digits of your phone number. So again, mine would be, mon numéro de téléphone, c'est 313 646 44 49. Okay? And in case you're out there writing down the number because you're going to give Mr. Nesbitt a prank call, that was my telephone number 60 years ago. It doesn't apply anymore. So don't bother whoever has it now. Okay. Ensuite, donc, quel est en fait, quel est votre numéro de téléphone? Allez, you say, mon numéro de téléphone, c'est... Voilà, très bien, bravo, j'ai bien noté. Ensuite, this is a little personal, you gotta forgive me, the verb peser is to weigh, to weigh. Combien est-ce que, this has two meanings by the way, combien est-ce que tu pèses en livres ou en kilos? Combien est-ce que tu pèses in French, that's slang for how much do you weigh? That's slang for how much do you earn? How much money do you earn every year? Or a year or per, they calculate per month more than really per year, but how much do you earn is combien est-ce que tu pèses? That's slang terminology, but it also means how much do you weigh. So combien est-ce que tu pèses? Moi, je pèse 200 15 livres. Hein? C'est-à-dire à peu près 97 kilos. Or at least I did when I got married 38 years ago. And I haven't weighed myself since. So I think I'm probably about the same right now. But in any case, notice when I use the word pounds, like 215 pounds, 215 livres, the word livre probably sounds to you like books. He weighs 215 books, that guy. I wonder how big these books are. But livre, it means book when the word is a masculine word, le livre, such as you've learned. If it's la livre, that is a word for a pound, which, by the way, the French don't use that standard measurement, but that is the word for an American or English pound, la livre, okay? And the kilo, which is what I transferred it to, or translated it to, a kilo is 2.2 pounds, okay? So I weigh 97 kilos, more or less. Je pèse 97 kilos, okay? Combien est-ce que vous pesez? You say, je pèse. Peser is to weigh. Je pèse. And no one's listening, so go ahead. D'accord, c'est bien. There's another practical use of numbers. One last. Quelle est l'année actuelle? Quelle est l'année en cours? What's the current year? Quelle est l'année en cours? It's 2000. Well, right now when I'm making this, it's 2000. It's two. How do we say it in English? It's 19. It's 2021. It's 2021. In French, it'll be c'est 2021. C'est l'an 2021. It's the year 2021. C'est l'an 2021. C'est bien. Bon, je pense que j'ai fini. Hein? I think I've finished. I hope you have too, because I'm going to stop right now. And so, je vous verrai bientôt. Merci bien d'avoir été présent. Thanks for having been here. I'll see you again soon. Au revoir.